Hi folks, we're in Module 6. We're looking at Mod6 problem number 3. Let's see how we can solve this problem. In this module, we're modeling, of course, with Excel models, and we'd like to take a very simple model of an income statement and then do some analysis around that. So the problem tells us we have an income statement model. We're going to have to build a model ourselves because the formulas aren't there. But we have this information about calculated values, which will make it easy to do so. So let's build our model first. Part A. Revenue, of course, is equal to the number of units sold times the unit price. So given the information, we have $1 million in revenues. Cost of goods sold is equal to our revenue times the cost of goods sold percentage. You see that as B in the calculated values in the gray area there. Gross profit, of course, is equal to revenue minus cost of goods sold. Variable cost is equal to variable cost percentage times revenue. So it is variable cost percentage times revenue. The fixed cost is equal to, I'm not going to type in 200,000. I'm going to reference the cell so I can make the changes in the cell, and they'll appear in this particular cell here. Operating expenses then are equal to the sum of fixed and variable. Net operating income then, of course, is equal to gross profit minus operating expenses. First, they have a profit. Our interest expense is equal to what's found in this cell. Earnings before taxes then are equal to our net operating income minus our interest expense. And of course, taxes are going to be a function of the tax rate times our earnings. But remember, we have to create an if statement here because we may get negative taxes. So if this value is greater than or equal to 0, then the calculation is earning before taxes times tax rate. Of course, then net income is equal to our earnings before taxes minus taxes. And there we have it. Let's look at our solution, make sure we've got the right number. Yes, we do. So there's our model. The next question that gets asked is to create a one-way data table with prices starting at 10 going to 60 in increments of 5 that will give us this net income for each one of those values. So let's start at 10. Let's go to 15. We'll drag this down to 60. I'm going to place our golden formula here. This is a one-way table on the vertical axis. I'm going to grab our data, and then I'm going to go to data, what if, data table. The row input, there is no row input. There is a column input, and the column input is the unit price. Let me change the calculation to automatic, and there's our values. We see that the break-even value is probably someplace between 30 and 35. We'll see how we calculate that later. But here's our table. Here are our new values for the various levels of unit price, resulting in a net income that becomes positive sometime after 30, between 30 and 35. I could actually change these numbers now and say this is 30, this is 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, etc. to find more exact, or actually 30, 30 and a half, 31, 30, 31 and a half, etc. And I can kind of zero in on that calculation. So let's now go to the create a graph of this and see if we can kind of eyeball what that unit price is. A graph of this would be pretty simple. I take the data, I go to insert, I find the line graph, here it is. I want to change this axis to correspond with my unit prices. So I grab the data, right click it, select data, I go to edit the horizontal axis, I grab this information as the new horizontal axis, I hit return, hit OK, and there it is. We can see that the value at 0, here's 0, is right about here. It's between 30 and 35. Okay, so eyeballing it, I'd say 32.5 as an estimate. Okay, and that wouldn't be a bad estimate. Now I could put 32.5 into here and see if that's exactly what it is. Let me change this to 32.5. See if that works. 32.5 gives us 1,650. Let me put in 32. So it's negative. So it's going to be between 32 and 32.5. So how would we find that if we wanted the exact answer? Let's use GoalSeek to see if we can get that. GoalSeek is a program that says, I want this net income value to be 0, and I want you to change the unit price to find what that value would be. So I put my cursor on the cell of interest. I go to data. I go to the data tools area and the what if analysis. We've been there before with our data tables. Here's GoalSeek. GoalSeek says, what's the set cell? Well, the one I want to set is the net income. I want to set it to a value of 0. And I want to change the cell unit price to get it to that value. So what unit price will give me a net income of 0? You can see what's happened in the cell. The cell has now got the number 32.1429, and that results in a value in our cell down here of almost 0. This is 3.84 with a bunch of zeros in front of it. So it's not exact because of rounding, but it's as close as we're going to get. So the value of our net income being 0 is about $32.14 and change. All right. I believe that's all the problems that we have. That found us the exact break-even point. That's the end of problem 3 in module 6, where we are building models and analyzing them.